gozaimasu, konnichiwa, konbanwa, for whenever you're listening to the Joshi Pod, the weekly podcast where we talk about all things Japanese women's wrestling, Joshi Wrestling. I'm your host, Eric Howard, coming to you from beautiful San Diego, California. I want to thank you guys all again for downloading this episode. If you'd like to continue to support the podcast, please subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcast. Tell your friends, family, share on social media. We're trying to build a real fun place to get the weekly news out and, more importantly, a platform for Joshi wrestlers to explain their experiences in the business. If you'd like to sponsor the show, we'd love to have you join the show. We can be reached at thejoshipod@gmail.com. We have another real fun show for you this week. As always, we'll look at the top 5 headlines of the week. We'll see the Joshi featured shows, plural, of the week. We'll look ahead to the calendar for upcoming shows in Japan. We will see where Joshi wrestlers are performing abroad. And in the main event, we are joined by the Fallen Flower Kikyo to discuss her career and the career-changing event that happened in the ring with Tam Nakano at Shinkiba Ring in July of 2018. You're going to want to stick around to hear her story. Let's get started with the top 5 Joshi headlines of the week, which are brought to you by one of our show sponsors, Quiet Wyatt Designs. If you're a wrestler, wrestling promotion, or podcaster needing an awesome design for a t-shirt, sticker, hat, patch, and so much more, reach out to the team at Quiet Wyatt Designs. They're helping me design, easy for me to say, they're helping me design a show logo, sticker, and t-shirt right now. Search for Quiet Wyatt, QUIET one word, designs on Facebook. Their designs can also be found on Redbubble. Just saying, you might see their stickers on light posts in Akihabara and in Harajuku. I'm not sure who put those there. You won't be disappointed if you reach out to the Ace Nolan and the rest of the team at Quiet Wyatt Designs. Headline 1. Her name is Riho, and she's still the AEW champ. I think I'm showing my age by parodying a Duran Duran song. Riho defeated her mentor, Emi Sakura, at AEW Full Gear pay-per-view last weekend. Those two have wrestled 200 times plus, but never in front of such a large audience. Some called their match the best of the show. I really want to point out that it's hard for companies as big as AEW to give every match the attention it deserves. So Emi Sakura took matters into her own hands, literally typing it on Twitter. She spent the days before the pay-per-view on Twitter letting the world know about her relationship with Riho and how important and significant the match was. When Justin Roberts was doing the ring introductions, you could really see how emotional Emi was. Hats off to Emi and Riho. Great job, ladies. Headline number 2, paving the Bushi Road back to stardom? Bushi Road officially takes over stardom on December 1st. Takaki Kidani, the founder and president of Bushi Road, spoke to Tokyo Sports and talked about some pretty interesting topics. He hinted at wanting to bring back Kairi Sane and Kairi Hojo and Io Shirai when their contracts are up with WWE. They signed multi-year deals with WWE, so it may be a while before they have a chance to come back to stardom. He said, "I will prepare the stage, so I would like you to come back." If they enjoy living in America, I think it's awesome for them to stay. And selfishly, I'd like them to stay because I want to see them wrestle on my TV more often in the States. But if they can earn a living, if the reason they came to America was to earn a better living, and they can go back to Japan and be closer to their families and loved ones and make the same living in Japan, all power to them. So it's going to be really interesting to see, with the Bushi Road money behind stardom and to see if some of those women won't jump to the States any longer, if they can make the same living in Japan. Become free agents, ladies. Start the bidding war. Headline number 3. Thunder is in the forecast for Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. Thunder Rosa will make her return to Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling on January 4th, 2020. She's already had a tour this year with Tokyo Joshi Pro, and she's toured with Stardom in the past. She's really killing it right now. She just fought her first MMA fight. She can be seen on WOW on Access TV, and she comes off as just the biggest superstar in NWA Power. Really hope to have her on the show before she heads over to Japan. Headline number 4. Pencil Army, unite! What a huge week it was for Gato Move's resident freelance writer and master of the pencil style, Lulu Pencil. She traveled to England and attended Eve Wrestling's She Won tournament as a writer and also stepped in the ring as a wrestler, a 2-sport star. Writing's a sport? Why not? poker is. Her t-shirts were selling like hotcakes, and she became an instant celebrity at the shows. Also on the AEW Full Gear pay-per-view, Excalibur gave a shout-out to Lulu Pencil. Last week's guest, Pumi, the voice of Got to Move, wasn't joking when he said,
"Legendary Lulu Pencils."
Headline number 5. Smile, Nico Nico. The Nico Pro channel has started accepting PayPal as a payment method, so it's now available internationally. Before, it had only been allowed for people inside of Japan, or if you had somebody set it up for you who was inside Japan. You can see shows from Actress Girls, Ice Ribbon, Seedlings, Sendai Girls, and more, and it's only about $5 a month.
危ないですから、黄色い線までお下がりください。まもなく2番線に
It's now time to look at the top Joshi shows of the week. There are actually 4 shows. They're not in Japan. They're in England at the Resistance Gallery in London, England, in the United Kingdom. Gato Moves, Mei Saruga, and Lulu Pencil travel to England to take part in the Eve Wrestling She Won tournament. Actually, Mei was there as a wrestler. Lulu Pencil was there as a writer, and the wild and crazy Lulu Pencil couldn't stay out of the action. We won't go into all 4 shows in great detail, but we'll take a look at some of the highlights of each show. There was 4 total. On the first show of the She Won on November 9th, Rhea O'Reilly defeated Mei Saruga. Millie McKenzie defeated Nicole Savoy, who's had tours with Stardom. And in the big main event, Mercedes Martinez defeated Casey. That same evening, they had a second show where Giselle Shaw, who's a international veteran, defeated Millie McKenzie. Mei Saruga got her big win over Jeddah. And Rhea O'Reilly in the main event defeated WWE veteran Jazz. On the third show, you got to go out of your way to see this. Go on to Eve Wrestling's on-demand service and take a look at it. Jazz, again, veteran WWE superstar, defeats Mei Saruga in an amazing match. The ice-cold Jazz completely melted when she fell to the charm of Mei Saruga. It's a really cute match to watch. Mei is incredibly adorable and real fun to watch, and she plays it up really, really well. Mercedes Martinez defeated Aisha Raymond on that same show, and Millie McKenzie defeated Laura Di Matteo. On the final show, the 4th show of the weekend, there was a big singles match. Again, go out of your way, go to the Eve on-demand service, and watch Mei Saruga defeat Lulu Pencil. They don't stay in the ring. They're from Gato Move. They go outside the ring, right? But Mei defeated her Gato Move teammate. In the final of the She Won, Millie McKenzie defeated Mercedes Martinez. McKenzie's now the ace of Eve and gets a title match of her choice at Wrestle Queendom 3 on January 11th at York Hall in London. Tickets are on sale for Wrestle Queendom 3 on the Eventbrite app. The Joshi calendar this week is brought to you by Ground Zero Pro Wrestling from my hometown of San Diego, California. The final show of 2019 will be on Saturday, December 7th, Ground Zero Legend. Jake Atlas, who's soon to be at the WWE Performance Center, is on the card, along with the Dirty Daddy Doug Dickinson, Ray Rosas, the Wolf Zaddy, Tito Escondido, Andy Brown, Matt Vandegrift, and so many more. For more information on Ground Zero, go to Facebook, look at Ground Zero San Diego. Just like Eve Wrestling, tickets for the show can be found on the Eventbrite app. Tonight is actually the biggest show of the week. Stardom is in Aichi for the finals of the 9th Goddess of Stardom Tag League. Bea Priestley and Jamie Hayter are already in the finals by winning the Red Goddess block. Before the finals that night, they will face Mayu Iwatani and Saki Kashima. The story is in the Blue Goddess block. Arisa Hoshiki and Tam Nakano face against the Deaths, Death Hana and Death Yamasan. The winner of the match wins the block and goes on to the finals against Bea and Jamie. In a non-tournament match, Hazuki and Natsuko Tora face the returning Utami Hayashishida and Ryo Onozaki. Utami can really be one of the top stars in all of Japanese women's wrestling. She just needs to shake that injury bug. The next day on the 16th, Tokyo Joshi Pro is in Aichi. The show is headlined by Maki Ito defending her International Princess Championship against Nightshade from the UK. Also on the card are Rika Tatsumi, Misao, Miyu Yamashita, Yuna Manase, and so many more. Also on the 16th, Ice Ribbon has their Ribbon Dojo show. On November 17th, Stardom's in Saitama. Pure J is at the OG Basement Monster. I love that venue. It's tiny, but it's really cool. If you're at the OG station, stop at Rocco's Pizza. It's probably the best pizza I had in Tokyo. The main event on the Pure J event is Hanako Nakamori and Raiden Hagane facing Moeka Harui and Kaho Kobayashi. Kaori Oniyama's on the show as she squares off against Kazuki. On the 17th, Waves in Nagano with Najisa Nozaki teaming with Yumi Oka to face Takumi Iroha and Mio Mimono. Sakura Hirota is also on the show. I'm not sure if her kids are making that trip. The Great Gato Move is in Ichikaya on the 17th, and YMZ is at the Nishi Arai Daishi Nishi Studio. Also, 666 with the great Ram Kaichao is at the Ice Ribbon Dojo in Saitama. On the 18th, Marvelous is in Shikiba Ring with Mei Horishutsuki's debut anniversary. The 19th, Actress Girls are at Shinkiba. The main event has Saki and Teihoma teaming up in the main event. Kaori Oniyama and Sumari Natsu is on that card as well. And on the 20th, rounding out the week, Ice Ribbon has an Ice Ribbon Dojo show. Not a ton going on outside of Japan. Shoko Nakajima is finishing up with CMLL. She shot a photo book and a DVD while in Mexico. She's wearing some traditional Mexican clothing. Looks real cute. That book and DVD will be released at the January 4th show in Corican. The Chara Expo in Southern California in Anaheim is December 7th and 8th. It's part of the Bushi Road and now the Stardom collaboration. Tam Nakano, Mayu Iwatani will be on hand for that. Before that, on November 30th and December 1st in Seattle with Defy, Miko Satomura will make a trip to the United States again, up to the Pacific Northwest, and she will be on both shows. The main event interview is sponsored by the Level Up Pro Wrestling School. B-Boy, who has over 20 years of experience in the wrestling industry with companies like Ring of Honor, CCW, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, and so many more, is the head trainer. And just look at the picture on Facebook and it'll tell you all you need to know. It's B-Boy, WWE superstar Cain Velasquez, the legend Rey Mysterio, his son Dominic, and they're flanked by future stars Michael Hopkins, Juan Mattioli, Hunter Freeman, and Mike Camden. You really never know who's going to pop by. Conan, Phoenix have all been by the school for some training. EJ Nutka, who's attended classes for nearly 5 months to prepare for his WWE tryout, started at the Performance Center back in August. If you're looking to get started or looking for some polish, contact the Level Up Pro Wrestling School, levelupschool.sd@gmail.com, or call 619-825-7668. And before we get to that incredible chat with Kikyo, I want to remind you guys to subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow me on Twitter at Eric San Diego and the show at The Joshi Pod. Please support all of our sponsors. They help make this thing go. I'll put links for all the sponsors on the show notes. Now let's get to Kikyo. Arigatou gozaimasu. I'd like to welcome to the Joshi Pod, Kikyo, the Fallen Flower. Thanks for joining the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I really appreciate it as well. All right, so you've been wrestling for how long, Kikyo?
Well, the books would say 10 years, but I'd say it's going on 8 years in February, like steady.
And then where did it transition from being a fan to wanting to actually do it?
Well, ever since I was a little kid, I always said I wanted to be a professional wrestler. Like that was my thing. It wasn't I want to be a doctor or a dentist or anything like that. I wanted to be a pro wrestler, and everybody made fun of me for it, of course, because I'm a girl, I'm a tomboy, and that kind of thing. So it was just, I was sitting at home. I was 19, year out of high school. I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing literally anything. I'm on unemployment. Screw it. I'm going to Google wrestling schools in California just because I said everybody, I told everybody I would, and why am I not doing it? Kikyo was born in 2014. anything prior to that is kind of behind me now.
A previous life.
Oh, absolutely. I shoved that bitch off a bridge.
So when you started training, did you start watching wrestling differently? Did you start looking at different things than you had before just as a fan?
Absolutely. It's once you see it, you can't unsee it, because it's like watching a clock being put together, because now that you know how it's put together, you'll never unsee that whole thing.
Did you like it, or did you just start?
At first I didn't like it, because the way it was taught to me is that, once you start wrestling, wrestling's going to be ruined for you because you can't unsee it. So it was always a negative connotation with everything for the first like 6 years of my training. And I didn't really get a positive criticism consistently until I moved up to Sacramento. So it's been really hard to switch that mindset from getting so much negative feedback. And some of it's supposed to push you. I totally get that, but I'm just not that type of person, and I don't respond well to it.
When did you first discover Joshi wrestling?
I want to say my first real introduction was Ayako Hamada in TNA, because I had kind of fallen in and out of watching actual wrestling when I was in high school and stuff like that. So once I started training, obviously you're supposed to study, you're watching tape. So I remember watching Ayako Hamada on TNA, and then that led me into Bull Nakano and Aja Kong. Was watching, that was maybe 2009. Got into Reggie Bennett. Tagging with Bull was always awesome, because she's a big old white girl in Japan murderizing people. Reggie Bennett is the shit. Literally, if nobody has ever watched a Reggie Bennett match, Google her, YouTube her, something. She is amazing. She used to be a power lifter. That's why she's so huge.
Big, strong girl, yeah.
Absolutely. She'll break somebody. And then in about 2013-ish is when I started getting into deathmatch wrestling. So, of course, I saw FMW and saw, Dump Matsumoto and all these women just going absolutely apeshit with exploding barbed wire matches and exploding rings and all this other crazy ass stuff.
So when did you think it might be a possibility that someday you might be able to go to Japan and actually wrestle?
Honestly, as much as I wanted it, it never crossed my mind that it was actually going to happen. Just because of the way that I did come up. It was a constant, you're never going to do this, you're never going to go here, you're never going to do anything that you want to do, because either you're not good enough, you have a bad attitude. There was always some reason why I wasn't allowed to do what I wanted, or dreamt of doing. So
when did your career start ascending? I mean, you worked the local shows. When did you start traveling and getting on bigger and better shows?
2015 was a really good year. After I changed my name over to Kikyo, 24, that was about March-ish of 2014. So that whole rest of that year was just kind of reestablishing myself. And then 2015, actually, I'm a weirdo. I'd pull a Bret Hart, and I actually have my match count from at least 2015. Here we go. I had 77 matches in 2015. And that was my first real full year of wrestling. I got to go to Nevada. I believe that's when I won it was 2016, I believe, where I won the Gold Rush Lady Luck Championship. And I held that for over a year, and I was just going everywhere. And then we're on year 3 now, 2016. Oh my goodness. That's when I went out to Rise.
All right. So the Kikyo character, let's talk about that for a sec here before we move on to Rise. So there's some Bull Nakano influences, obviously.
Yes.
With the makeup and the attitude.
I didn't realize how on point I was with Bull until a year in to being Kikyo. I was watching one of those Suicidal Dragon top 10 moves. And I'm like, hey, I do that. Oh, and I do that. Wait, I do that. Hey, that's something I could. Fuck, I'm American Bull Nakano, son of a bitch.
There's worse things to be.
Right, absolutely.
I tell this on every show. I think I have a massive crush on Bull Nakano to this day still.
She's beautiful. She is absolutely gorgeous.
I got to meet her at the AW. I don't know if it's the Rise or AWS show, one of those ones where they do like the meet and greets before the show. And it was like her and Medusa. And I kind of like pushed Medusa out of the way so I could just take a picture with Bull. I felt terrible for afterwards, but in the moment, I'm like, no, I need a picture with Bull. I need a picture with Bull.
Yeah, then you were there the night that she inducted me, Chris Wolf, and Dee Dee Dynamite into Gokumanto.
We'll get there. All right. So you got introduced to Rise by Nicole Savoy. Then what happened from there?
I spent every last penny I had on a flight to Chicago and the seminar fees. And I was like, I'll worry about a hotel room later. And ended up figuring it out. It was a seminar with Soraya Knight in Colt Cabana. Learned a lot that weekend. Very sore. Very long weekend because that Rise was on a Thursday. And then Shimmer was on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it was a rare 3-day Shimmer weekend. So that was a really long introduction into the real world of women's wrestling.
So did you work the shows that weekend for Shimmer?
I worked one show. So it was me and Ronnie Nicole versus the Sea Stars at the first Rise. And then the first 2 days we were at the ballroom. And the last day we were at the Eagles Club. I think, or something like that. And then that Saturday, me and Ronnie got our dark match against Ariana Sarchi and Savannah Evans. So that was my first ever working anything for Shimmer at all, was that dark match. And then I didn't actually debut for Shimmer until after Rise 3 Medic. I wrestled Jules Malone that Friday. That Saturday, I did a dark match with Arja Pereira, which is what you see on Vice, the wrestlers. And then that Sunday, I debuted against Havoc at Shimmer 94, I believe.
So you're starting with Shimmer then. Tell me about how you progressed there with Shimmer to get more and more involved.
So far, I've only had 3 official matches on Shimmer itself. The rest have been dark matches. The next set of Shimmer tapings, I actually got to do a seminar with Aja Kong.
Wow.
Yeah, that was amazing. So that night I main evented with Rise. It was me, Shotzi Blackheart, Deanna Perrazzo. Chelsea was gone. So Britt Baker, and then Dust.
Some talent in that match.
Yeah, and then Delilah Doom as well.
Very talented as well.
Yeah, it was insane. It's called the Incursion of the Phoenix. So we main evented. I had the title, and then Delilah cashed in her little doctor's note, came in, beat me, and that's how she got the Phoenix of Rise championship. So then the next day, it was a dark match between myself and Heather Monroe. We have an amazing match. I love Heather to death. She's awesome. We had a great freaking match. And I go up top, I go for my frog splash, and boom, Eddie Guerrero dislocate my elbow. I'm like, oh, this is great.
So then how long were you on the shelf for that?
I John Cena that and came back in 3 weeks, because in 3 weeks was the Bull Nakano seminar in LA that was already paid for by one Matt Hankins from Atlanta, Georgia, who was amazing promotion.
So is that the
Love
Rise?
That
That's the Rise 6 Brutality, right? The December 1st.
Yes.
All right. So there was a seminar there with Bull and Medusa, and I guess the official Stardom tryout.
The seminar was actually with Bull, Chris Wolf, and Melissa Anderson.
Oh, good. Okay. How'd that go with the busted elbow?
Because both myself and Melissa were just coming back from injuries. So that was both of our first match back.
Well, what did you learn from Bull?
It's more of like how Japan runs their training. And then just asking questions about her and her career and how she's dealt with things. And because she's had gastric bypass, I think she said she had double knee surgery. Like, she's been through it. Everybody asks me, well, why don't you do the guillotine leg drop like Bull as a finish? I'm like, because there's a reason she doesn't do it anymore. Yeah.
All right. So the next night was a pretty big night, the alternative wrestling show for you, correct?
Actually, it was that night.
Was it that night? Okay. So the big night, the big night was that same night. Okay. So yeah. Talk about the ceremony that night.
So I just had the whole Gokumanto thing. Me, Dee Dee, and Chris, we had Bull Nakano come out. because we beat up Melissa. She beats up Melissa. We're like, we're Gokumonto, and this is freaking awesome. Go in the back. I freaking cry because it's freaking Bull Nakano. And she's real, and she's an angel. But then I have Kevin. He tells me, he's like, hey, go get, he needs Shotzi, Dust, Kylie, and Shotzi, Dust, Kylie, and Delilah. And he's like, I need them all right here at this time. I'm like, all right, get everybody up. And Shotzi's about to have her match with Chris Wolf, so she's, in her own headspace, and she's like, I gotta freaking figure this out. No, I have to. I'm like, this is what he's telling me. So we all go out. And it legit. When we got told that we were going to Japan, that was all completely 100% a shoot. None of us knew. All the tears are real.
I was sitting in the crowd that night, and I was like, "This looks real. This is the first thing tonight that looks super duper real."
We did not know. We were just told, "Hey, be at the curtain at this particular moment, and come out when called." We're like, "Okay, you're going to Japan." Well,
so what goes through your mind that evening? What are you thinking?
I had a feeling that something like that was going to happen. I just didn't think I was going to be a part of it. And I remember looking at Dust, and I see like she had like a crybaby, like single tear going down her face. I look at Dust, I'm like, "You're crying?" She's like, "No." I'm like, "Yeah, sorry." I somehow held it together before I walked to the back, and I looked, and Odie was right there. I looked at Odie, and he looked, and I just gave him a hug, and I started crying.
And then what did you do to prepare for Japan after that?
I was just so busy being like trying to wrestle and figure stuff out. I don't even remember. Like everything's literally a blur leading up to Japan, especially like the month leading up to Japan, because I took like a whole month off, traveled and visited family. And
so this is summer 2018 then.
Mm-hmm.
So you get your flight to Japan in July of 2018?
Yep.
Tell me what you're feeling as you're flying over, besides your butt hurting from sitting in the seat so long.
Honestly, the seats were, I was comfortable. I don't know about like I legit sat the entire time. I didn't even get up to pee. It was like a 16-hour flight.
I've been there 4 times. I've not got up once to go to the restroom, not even once.
Yeah, I was fine. Whatever. I don't even remember what airline we used, but I remember me and Kylie had to book it from LAX because we got off our Spirit flight from Chicago and then had to run up to whatever Japan Airlines it was. But we had to like pick up our checked bags to go recheck them in within like a 45-minute time span.
So, is it just like schoolgirls excited going on? I mean, I hate to use that term, but you know what I mean? But just like excited to go over, or is it kind of, what's your feeling like?
Yeah, we were both super, super excited. But we were both super stressed because we're like, oh my God, this is Japan. Like, for Stardom of all places, holy crap. Like, we want to make sure that we do good ourselves. We want to make sure that we represent Rise properly and, make Kevin proud and make the fans proud. And it's just so many, like, I'm getting, like, my chest is shaking just remembering everything.
So you land. What's the process of, like, when you land? How do they take care of you guys once you get there? Who's there waiting for you outside the gate?
It was Rossi Ogawa, who's the owner of Stardom. It was him.
He was there himself.
Yep, he met us there himself with another guy. It was me, Britt Baker, Dust, and Kylie Ray, because Delilah and Shotzi had broken their ankles 1 and 2 weeks prior to leaving.
Did you talk to them before that?
A little bit, but for the most part, they were just like, I don't want to even think about anything, which I totally understandable.
Yeah, me too. I was like, I would be devastated.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, so you're in Japan. Rossi Ogawa's welcoming you to Japan, giving you big hugs. What happens after that? Where do you guys stay? What do you guys do? Again, this stuff fascinates me.
Yeah, well, my story gets cut off a little short though.
We'll get there.
So we got off the plane, make sure everybody's there. We head to the apartments where Viper is waiting for us, or Piper Niven, whatever you want to call her. The apartment is sweltering hot because we can't figure out the remote control to turn the freaking AC on. We all ended up like somebody finally came over and helped us, but we were like stripped down to like sports bras and shorts because we were just dying. It's like 100 degrees inside this little tiny apartment.
Was it crazy humid as well while you were there?
I mean, if you've ever been to Florida, it wasn't as bad as like it was maybe a little bit worse than Florida, but really not that bad.
I'm from San Diego, so I'm a big wimp when it comes to like any kind of not perfect weather.
It wasn't like you walked outside and you were wet.
Yeah, because I've gone there mostly in September, and every time I've gone there in September, it's just been miserable. But I love it.
So yeah, we went to the apartment, finally got the AC on, and then we all went to dinner that night. And Viper kind of showed us around, and because she had been there obviously several times, and this was all of our first time.
So the language barrier for you and the office staff, things like that, do they have translators there to kind of help you guys out a little bit?
Yes and no. Some of the girls, like they know some girls know some English. They understand it more than they can speak. But there are some girls that obviously know a lot more and can help, with the language barrier. But it's really odd because wrestling is so universal when it comes to movement that language sometimes isn't even needed.
July 14th, you're scheduled to wrestle Tam Nakano in the Dream Come True tournament. Tell me what happened. What happens when you lead up to that day?
I called my dad because it was still the 13th in the US. And I called him and said, "Happy birthday. I get to go wrestle in Japan today." We went to the 7-Eleven, picked up some stuff, got in the car, and drove to Shinkiba First Ring.
Love that.
We all had time frames of when we were supposed to go over everything. And second to last move, it was supposed to be pick her up for the driver. So pick her up for like a Samoan. And
this is Tam you're picking up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pick her up for the Samoan. She's supposed to slide out the back door and give me a sunset flip, kick out, and then roll me up for a schoolboy. 1, 2, 3. That's the finish. Pick her up for the Samoan. She slides out the back door. My knee pops.
What do you think of that moment?
At first, my mind goes blank. And then, because it pops, I scream, grab my knee, made sure I didn't sit on her face. Somehow still, saved her. It's an amazing thing when you're so used to saving people's necks. So I fall. She rolls underneath me. I grab my knee and I say "itai," which means it hurts in Japanese. Just so they know that, hey, I'm injured, something's wrong. They check my knee, check my leg, and I'm just like, I'm literally crying in Tam's arms.
So the communication, I mean, can you tell them what hurts and what doesn't hurt? Is it Japanese doctors, I'm guessing, correct?
Yeah, I mean, there's certain phrases that you learn, obviously being over there, absorbing the language because that's all you can hear. So you learn little like daijibu, that means it's okay, or are you good? And then me, I'm a nerd for Japan in the first place. I love anime. I've always loved anything from Japan. I've wanted to go since I was a little kid. So I knew some Japanese and enough to really actually, it helped out a lot. So anybody who loves anime, don't let anybody tell you different. It helps. So I was able to, because that's something that I learned through watching anime. Itai, it hurts. Ow. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, and Tam's holding me and she's rocking me because I'm just so upset. And I'm like, all right, if I can stand up, we'll see what happens. So I stand up and I'm like, okay, it doesn't really hurt. I'm like, all right, if I can stand on this leg and it feels good enough, I'll just wrap it up and I'm still going to wrestle. Screw it. And I tried to stand on that leg and it did this like wobbly noodle effect. And I really didn't want that final destination, my leg looking like a freaking L kind of thing happening.
Yeah.
So I was like, crap, I can't do it. So I hopped to the back. They wrapped up my knee in ice, sent me off to urgent care. I got an x-ray, thankfully no broken bones, but they obviously weren't able to do an MRI. They gave me an ultrasound on the back of my knee, and they knew for sure that I tore my meniscus. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's just the meniscus. Maybe it's just that, and I'll be good. But either way, my knee is torn. I can't do anything. I'm supposed to be here for 2 months, and this is day 3.
So are you alone going through this whole process at the urgent care and things like that?
Pretty much, yeah. It was just me and the person who drove me.
What were you thinking when you got the x-ray done?
I'm a fat gaijin sitting in an urgent care. I'm not going to get the best help. Because like I was literally the last person help. The fact that I'm overweight is not helpful to me in this country.
I'm a big boy, and I understand.
Yeah, I'm like barely fitting in the freaking wheelchair kind of situation. They gave me like, I think, cortisone shots in my knee. I don't know honestly what they did. But they gave me crutches and put 2 shots in my knee and sent me on my merry way.
So do you go back to the show that night?
I wanted to, but they just took me straight back to the apartment.
What's it like sitting there knowing the show's going on?
I'm pissed. Like I'm not even upset about, like, I'm pissed off. Like I'm just so angry. It honestly, it didn't hit me until 4 days later. Because I woke up it was the 19th in Japan, 18th in the US. I wake up, it's like 8:00 in the morning. Why something doesn't feel right? Why doesn't something feel right? I check my phone and I have a message from Scoot Robertson telling me that Virgil had passed away. And I'm like, wait, like WWE Virgil or our Virgil? Like, you got to be specific here because you're freaking me out. He's like, no, our Virgil, meaning Virgil Flynn III, who was my trainer and who is somebody that kept me in this business when I didn't know if I could do it anymore. He was only 33.
Mm.
And that's when it finally hit me. And I completely and utterly broke, was sobbing. Like I woke everybody up because it's like 8:00 in the morning. And they're like, what the hell's going on? And I'm like, my trainer just died.
So you're halfway around the world and you can't do a whole lot about it.
And at the time living in Washington, so I couldn't do anything about it, even if I wanted to.
Yeah. So how long did you stay in Japan after the injury?
I left on the 21st. Didn't get home until the 23rd. Because I had a 19-hour layover in Seoul, South Korea.
Oh wow!
Because of having to change my flights.
All right, so you're pretty down coming back to America. What happens when you come back? I mean, what as far as the surgeries go or medical like that goes, what happens next?
I went to the ER just in case. They wouldn't do an MRI. Finally was able to get an appointment with an orthopedic surgeon. And then my insurance made me go through 4 weeks of physical therapy just to make sure, like, oh, is this helping? Are you sure you need an MRI? Yeah, I'm pretty damn sure. So that also used up 4 of my 24 visits per year that I get. And then I
for
all the
foreign listeners, just know the American medical system is not the greatest in the world.
Yeah, American healthcare sucks. Yeah. So yeah, maybe use up 4 of my 24 visits that I get per year on unnecessary physical therapy, just so I could get my MRI to finally tell me, hey, not only did you tear the posterior horn of your meniscus, which is the weight-bearing portion of your meniscus, you also tore your ACL right off of your femur, which is your thigh bone. Clean off, gone.
So what's the recovery time? What are they talking to you about as far as getting back in the ring?
Anywhere from 6 months to a year and a half, depending on how surgery goes and what I do and what I use and how my therapy is and blah, blah, blah.
Were you ready for that challenge right away?
No, hell no. I'm still recovering. Like, it's the mental game is so messed up. It's so, like, the things that I had to emotionally deal with while also dealing with my torn knee, like, to sit there and watch everything happen and you can't do anything. And then no matter how hard you try, things don't get shared, or people don't buy things, or people don't give a crap, or you're not popular enough to get flown here and there while you're injured. Like, and then on top of that, you're bedridden for weeks. I was on crutches for 3 months. My doctor didn't give two craps about me. My therapists were amazing, thank God. I have an amazing boyfriend who waited on me and still waits on me hand and foot. Like, if it wasn't for the people around me and the connections that I've made through busting my ass and getting these opportunities on my own, like, I probably wouldn't be here right now, because that's how low you feel when it feels like this is all you have. And now it's gone.
It's coming back though, right?
Absolutely. It was really rough at first. Like, the first couple of bookings I felt like people were overestimating me, because they're like, here's your first match back. Y'all got like 20 minutes. I'm like, I'll give you 6.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how does 6 sound? Yeah.
I'll give you 6 curtain, bro.
And half of that's yelling at the crowd, right?
Pretty much. I went back to, I was actually talking to Allison Danger about this. I told her, I'm like, I'm just going to go back to doing like the stuff I should have done 10 years ago, which is nothing. I don't bump. You got one bump, kid. Make it good.
That's more over a year and a half almost now past the injury.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you at now?
I am, let's see here. I am now 23 matches deep into my comeback.
So you're 23 matches back. What's coming up for Kikyo? Where do you want to get to? Is Japan still an option, you think, for you going forward?
See, I can't talk about this yet. Crap. There is a particular booking with a particular person that may or may not really help in going back to Japan.
Okay. So as far as in ring work right now, where are you at? How are you feeling?
It's coming back. Like, it's the small things that everybody has to constantly work on and stuff.
All right. Where can we find you on social media?
Everything. I'm smart. I did this years ago. Everything is at Fallen Kikyo. FALLENKIKYO. That is Instagram. Facebook, I think, is Fallen Flower Kikyo if you want the like page. Literally everything. Fallen. If it's not a cartoon character, it's more than likely me.
Well, I appreciate your time, sincerely, for chatting with us and being so open about. Japan is the dream, and it didn't quite turn out that way for you yet. But I really appreciate you sharing.
Yeah, not a problem. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.